Fellowshippers, welcome to the Fellaship Hall with the twins and Ralph. I am Ralph, aka Big Ham, aka Nose, aka smartest one in the room, and I'm here with my fellas. Twin number one, Keith, and twin number two, Ken. Fellas, say hello to the Fellowshippers today.
What's up, fellowship? It's your boy Ken. Thanks for tuning in with us today. Hope you guys enjoy the show.
What's up, fellowship? This is Keith, aka the moderator. You know me, I know you. Let's go ahead and get started today. So today we're gonna do things a little bit different. Usually we come in and we rate a TV show or a movie. You know, we let you guys know what we think about this or that. And if you haven't been, if this is your first time visiting, you know, go check us out on YouTube page at the Fellowship Hall, or check us out on the Facebook page at the Fellowship Hall. But today we're gonna, you know, we all grew up in a similar time, so we decided that it might be fun to have a show where we talk about the 5 best sitcoms in our opinions, and then kind of have a quick debate about it to see if we are pretty close or how far away we are. Of course, you know, we always encourage you guys to go in the comment section and let us know what you think, and we'll try to respond back to you, let you know you're right or let you know you're wrong. We're going to do it in a certain way. We're going to just go from 5 to 1. You know, each of us going to give our top 5, and then number 4, number 3, number 2, and what have you. And then we'll go from there. Make sure you let us know if you agree or disagree. So who wanna kick it off? I feel like Big Ham is leaning back and rocking in his chair, so I guess we'll let him start it off.
Hey man, it's only right to let the smartest one in the room, who undoubtedly gonna have the best list out of us 3 here, start it off.
Oh, wait, Ralph. I maybe you didn't hear me because I said that you could start it off, but you are the smartest one in the room.
Good one. The fellowshippers will decide. Fellowship will let us know who has the best list. All right.
Okay.
And my list begins with my number 5. In my top 5 list, and my number 5 is maybe a controversial pick nowadays, but you can't dispute it. And my number 5 all-time best sitcom is The Cosby Show. And really and truly, if not for the indiscretions of the title character, it probably would be higher up on everybody's list. But The Cosby Show was the first sitcom that I remember that everybody in the family gathered to watch on Thursday nights, right? It was the first one. It was the one that finally showed a successful black family being a successful black family. You had a doctor, you had a lawyer, you had kids that were all going through their stages of life, and it was a long-lasting sitcom, and everybody loved it. It was everybody's favorite. It crossed racial lines.
It did.
Everybody loved it, and it was the Cosby Show, man. And you know, we have so many quotables from this show. Even the tertiary characters became legends. You know, like Lance and Charmaine and Cockroach and Justine.
Yeah.
You know, and all them, man. It was just like, you know, it launched the careers of a lot of people. And then also, man, those characters on this show, even the ones that we did other stuff, they still are those characters. Rudy Huxtable was a baby almost when this show started, and now she's still Rudy Huxtable until she got grown, became adult, and everything. She's still Rudy Huxtable.
Yeah.
So, man, number 5 all-time greatest sitcom on my list, The Cosby Show.
Okay, you know what? I'm not mad at that. Yeah, Ken, you okay with that as being his number 5?
I am.
Yeah, you know, like you said, Ralph, controversial or not, you know, this is a TV show versus real life. We talking about TV shows, and you put Cosby Show at number 5, and I'm not mad at that. Ken, why don't you go ahead and give us your number 5?
Yep. So we kind of having a discussion kind of offline about it, and it's the list is kind of organic, so it grows. It's not stagnant. So you know, depending on what stages we were in life, the list would have been totally different. So for me, my number 5 is going back to a time when I was growing up. But then also revisited after I became an adult. My number 5 is going to be Boy Meets World.
Okay.
That was one of those shows that that I watched as a child every Friday night. And and the reason it makes my list, and that'll be kind of the criteria for all the situational comedies that make my list, is the fact that I can still watch it today and have the same amount of enjoyment and laughter that I had, either when I was a child, or when just some years ago, even when I was adult. And so it was one that came on when I was a child. The kids were like basically a year older than us, or than, when I say us, I mean me and Keith, about 3 years older than Ralph. But they were basically our age, going through high school and then into college, and then they ended up bringing it back on the Disney Channel for a couple seasons with their kids, and all of us have kids now, so it kind of still hits home for me. So number 5 is going to be a different world for not a different world. Number 5 is going to be Boy Meets World for me.
Okay. Before Big Ham makes some comment that's probably going to be out of the side of his mouth, I definitely agree with you, Kendrick. Boy Meets World was a great show that I enjoyed growing up, and like I said, we grew up together with them. Like the same thing that they were going through as they were growing up on TV. We kind of dealt with similar things. Like high school or middle school or sports or whatever. Relationships, what have you. So I'm not mad at your number 5. I know Big Ham made a face, but my face was agreement. Big Ham, you got a comment on that?
No, I'm not mad at his list. It definitely would be on my list. I watched the show. It was an entertaining show. I think the best thing about it was Topanga. Like everybody had a crush on Topanga. Topanga is still famous today because everybody had a crush on Topanga back then. So for off the street of Topanga, it works.
Okay. I'll go next. My number 5, and as Kendrick alluded to, the shows can change or shuffle or whatever, because as you grow, or as you start doing different things in life, then more things or different things appeal to you. So my number 5 is going to be, I don't know, maybe a surprise to some, and maybe not. Again, Fellowship has let us know what you think. But my number 5 is going to be the TV show, the American version called The Office. And I say I say that because, like Kendrick mentioned, this is one of those shows that I could watch over again, and I still laugh at a lot of the craziness. And now, as I'm a working man or working professional, whatever you want to say, some of the scenarios that were, of course, a parody of real life in the office, I can kind of relate to sometimes in my professional work life. Some crazy meeting that you feel like is not necessary. Of course, the office is over the top and it's hilarious, but at the same time, I can still draw some similarities between that and my life. So what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, man. I hear a lot of people talk about how great and how funny it was. And so, I tried to watch it several times. I couldn't really get into it. But, I do think, not Ben Stiller. What's my guy name?
Steve Carell.
Yeah, Steve Carell. I think he's hilarious, too. I think a lot of people that show hilarious.
Yeah.
But I just could never really get into it. And I tried. I think that they just took it off of Netflix at the end of the year, last year.
Maybe February.
Yeah, so I was trying to watch it before it went off, but I could never really get into it.
Yeah, I hear you. And you know what? It's okay. Different people got different tastes or different flavors for certain things. And like I said, based on some of my life experiences, I may have been drawn to that a little bit more.
And I did. So many people talked about the racial or what did they call? What they called the diversity show they had. So I did go watch the episode. I thought it was funny. I didn't think it was funny, but
that was pretty good. Honestly, that would not happen in the real world, but it was so funny. It was so funny. Okay, let's keep it going with our number 4. So Ken, I think Ralph did 5 first, so we're gonna let you do 4 first.
My number 4 is Everybody Loves Raymond. And I see Big Ham is over there having a seizure or something. But this is a show that honestly I never watched when it was airing originally, but it's the syndicated version of the show that I have fallen in love with. And I watch it and I still laugh and I laugh and I laugh at the stuff. It comes on TBS in the mornings, on the weekends. And I will watch an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond with no hesitation and still laugh at the actions of the characters in the show. Okay. Everybody Loves Raymond, number 4.
Okay, so Ken, if I may, I'm going to say that did not even make an honorable mention on my list.
Hey, check this out, and that's fine. You know, different folks, different strokes. Which also,
Yeah.
by the way, did not make my list.
Let's talk about Willis.
Exactly. Okay, I think we saw by Big Ham's reaction what he thought of it. So
I mean, I don't know. I never watched a second of the show.
I watched it. It's okay, but it definitely is not in my top five. Not even near my top five. So okay, then I'll go. I'll go next. So yeah, it is okay. I'll go next with my number. With my number four, and my number four is a throwback to Big Ham's number five. My number four show is the Cosby Show. For many of the reasons that Big Ham mentioned. I grew up with that show. I was young when it was on, but it was relevant to me. You know, it was one of those things that um, I don't want to say any other shows just in case these guys have them on their list and they want to talk about. But it was one of the shows where you saw this hardworking professional family with a doctor husband and a lawyer wife, and their kids, going through everyday stuff, still, I remember one time where I can't remember which of the kids said something like, Dad, we're rich. And Dr. Hustle was like, you're not rich. Me and your mother are rich. But it was just, it was something that you could watch, and I think that most of the time, maybe not every time, but most of the time we could watch it as a family at the same time also, which was also special for me, being able to sit down with my brothers and my parents and watch a TV show about a family that, obviously my mom and dad weren't doctors and lawyers, but they were people and they were present in my home, and we were enjoying something together. And to see that on TV as a young kid, it kind of inspired me to try to see what I could do or what I could grow up to be. So definitely, I agree with Big Ham on his number five, but I have it as my number four on my list of Cosby Show. Any thoughts about that, guys? You guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Man,
you can't go wrong with it.
Can't go wrong with it. It's already on my list, so I'm down with you.
Yep.
Okay.
Big Ham.
Yeah, Big Ham, go ahead and let us know your number four.
All right. The number four on my list is one that, may not be popular to the masses, but this show, it was so good that they copied this show and made this show for a crossover audience that became the highest selling and the highest grossing sitcom ever. And this show that's my number four is Living Single. And Friends was a copy of Living Single. So my show was Living Single. Living Single, I thought, was a good representation of professional late 20s, early 30s in the big city. It was a good representation of it. What I loved about it is that it wasn't stereotypical at all. It was really about enlightening people on how true professionals live. And where they had over Friends, they're much more diverse. Like if you watch Friends, you would think there weren't any black people in New York City. And when I went to college, I had a whole lot of black teammates and a whole lot of black classmates from New York City. I was like, real? But yeah, Living Single, man. A great cast, a veteran in Kim Fields. You had a veteran comedian, Kim Coles. Right. You had an excellent entertainer, a rapper turned actress in Queen Latifah. You had Erica Austin, who got her start on the Cosby Show. Right. She was there as well, a great actress. She was also, a trained actress as well as my guy who played Kyle Barker. They both came up throughout the plays. So then you had the guy that played Overton, who was also a comedian. So you had a well-defined cast. You had a good cast. You had, they were able to deal with serious things. A lot of times they kept everything light, but it was a very versatile show, a good show, very entertaining. And my number four all time is Living Single.
I'm not mad at that, Big Ham. I actually like Living Single also. I wouldn't say that I would watch it right now if it came on, like just sit down and watch like a marathon. I might watch a show or a few scenes, but it's definitely on my top 100 or maybe top 50 or something like that. No, but I mean that's no problem. You know, it was a good show, and I did watch it when I was growing up. And like you said, it was good to see people like us in these real scenarios, and it was entertaining. Also, it wasn't like always like funny. It was like drama and funny mixed together. So like when we talked about the Cosby Show, I felt like that was always funny, but it did have some serious moments too. But yeah, I'm not mad at Living Single. Kendra, you got any comment about Living Single?
I don't mind it. It didn't make my list, and unfortunately, it didn't make my honorable mentions either. But I did watch it, and I did enjoy it at the time. But I think it's not something that I would probably sit down a day and, like you said, watch a marathon. But it was a good show at its time, and I did watch it.
Exactly. You know what? I know this is we talking about situational comedies or sitcoms, but one thing I remember about Living Single is if I remember right, it used to lead into New York Undercover. Is that right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Okay. But anyway, yeah, I think so too.
I think New York Undercover came on for 8 to 9. Living Single came on at 7:30 after what came on before it? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. But yeah,
I think he came on after Barton.
See, that's what I was thinking too, but I can't remember.
After Barton before New York Undercover.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I thought it led to New York Undercover for sure. But okay. So all right, guys. You guys started with 5 and 4 respectively. So I guess I'll kick off 3, and it kind of leads from what Rav just mentioned. My number 3 sitcom of all time to me is the sitcom Martin, and I feel like. I don't know. Big Ham raised his eyebrows for some reason. But Martin was hilarious to me. Hilarious, And I'll mention this personally. Growing up, Kendrick and I used to love Martin, and his WZUP radio station stuff was so funny to us that we started like recording our radio talk show where we would interview guests and then clown them on the radio if they made us mad and stuff. So Martin was funny. It had a great cast. It had Garrett Morris from I think Saturday Night Live at the time, which I didn't know anything about, but I knew him as Stan from Martin. It had Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite as the guy that worked at the studio with Martin. And Gina, Gina, we love. Pam was Martin's enemy, but she was hilarious. And then the characters that Martin used to play, it was hilarious. I feel like that people like Martin probably inspired Dave Chappelle to be able to do certain characters on his show that make people laugh. Dave Chappelle obviously is a hilarious comedian. Martin was a comedian, and then he had this sitcom, and it was just funny. I was young when I was watching. I wasn't that young, but I wasn't that old. But it was hilarious. It was a family show. It was hilarious. Maybe my parents probably didn't watch it so much as me and my older brothers and Kendrick, but it was hilarious. It's my number 3, and honestly, it was tough for me to put it at 3. I think when I was originally making my list, I had it a little bit higher, but I think I settled at 3. I'm comfortable with that. But Martin, WZUP, Martin.
Yep, I'm perfectly fine with that.
Okay. Big Ham, we're gonna go to you. What's your number 3?
All right, my number 3, man. And this one, it was a sitcom, but I didn't like it so much for how funny it was. It was just a great show, and it was a spinoff off of Cosby Show. And my number 3 is Different World.
Yep.
Different World was just cool to see college life. We were young, and I ain't never really just thought about college life before then, but I thought about playing college football. That's it, but I never thought about college life. Yeah. So we saw that. It was, really good to see how it was able to evolve season after season after season. You had new characters come in. You had Jada Pinkett come in, lost her career. You had Charmaine go from Cosby Show to Different World, just like you had Denise go from Cosby Show to Different World. Right. Lance was on there. Like it was. And then Dwayne, Wayne, and Whitley, and just iconic characters. Just great acting. I think the only downfall of the show for me was the Ron, Kim, Freddie love triangle. I just thought that was just like, like looking back on it now, I was like, what best friends would date the same dude. Like, but back then it was, it was cool. I would think like that, but after I was in college, I was like, it really was foul that Run went with Kill, but then ended up going with Fred. But other than that, man, that show was great, man. It was just a great show. A lot of serious, and a lot of serious shows that touched on like, the LA riots. That race show was like.
Race show was one of the best shows.
Race show was one of the best sitcom shows ever.
What show was it?
I
think it was
a 2-part episode.
Yeah, 2-part episode. It was actually, I think it was actually a season ending and the season beginning.
Maybe.
Yeah, it was a cliffhanger. Yeah, I think it ended one season and started the next season.
Okay.
And then the Byron, the Whitney leaving Byron at the altar, that was I think
epic.
He mentioned it on the previous review of a nostalgic moment. Yeah, so that was great, man. Different world, man. It was just a great show. It's probably the least funny of the 5 on my list, but it's probably the most versatile show on my list as well.
Hey, I'm not mad at that. Different World was incredible. It did not make my top 5.
And it holds up. Even though it was a 90s show, it still holds up.
Yeah, I could watch that right now today at a marathon because it was good. And you made a good point. It wasn't always funny, but it was entertaining.
Yeah,
it was entertaining. Yeah,
I agree with that.
She's not to say yes.
Yeah.
It was good, man. It was good. Ken, go ahead and finish out with your number 3.
Yep. So my number 3, it goes back to my childhood again, and it's one of those shows that, like you guys already mentioned, the Cosby Show and Different World, and this is a show that edged those out a little bit in my case because it's something that, like I said, I can go and I can watch a marathon of it today and not have an issue with it, and that's going to be Family Matters. To me, that was a great show with great characters that evolved. I mean, even as the show got older, they started getting more unrealistic with some of the things that were happening. But you still had rolled with the show for so long.
Yeah.
And Steve ended up getting Laura, and then you see Carl and Eddie, and also we have Myra there, which is who was from Cosby Show. So to me, that bridged the gap a little bit for me. So for number 3, I am going with Family Matters.
Excellent choice. Family Matters was a great show. It was another family show, another black family show that we could all get behind. And one thing about Family Matters is, even though, like you said, Ken, it kind of bridged the gap between reality and fantasy. But when Steve changed to Stefan, like that was the first time that probably Jaleel White could kind of be more so himself on the show and show people, hey, I'm really not this character in real life. This is who I am. So I don't know how they wrote it. But that was still one of the best episodes I remember as a young guy, because I felt like, man, if Steve can grow up and change a little bit, even though it's through some machine that's obviously false or a fantasy, it's still possible, So that was one of the best episodes for me. So Family Matters, I am definitely not mad at. That was a great show.
Great show, man. And Steve just stole the show, man. He stole the show so much that. And it haunted him, man. He could never get away from being Urkel. And it haunted Jaleel White. But he stole the show. A lot of people don't really understand that he was just supposed to be a tertiary character in season 1. Mm-hmm. And then he just stole the show and became the star, man. Family Matters was a great show. It was the one that it was hard for me to leave off my list, man. I wanted it on there, but I had to leave it off. And it killed me that I had to leave it off. But it was one of my favorite shows as well. I remember us crushing on Laura. I don't know about us. I know I did crush on her for a minute.
You did.
Crushed on Laura. I remember that y'all like Myra a lot.
Myra was nice.
Pretty. Yep, she was pretty.
Yeah, but she was just from the Cosby Show to me.
Yeah, but what was crazy is I didn't realize she was Justine until later.
What?
Yeah, right then. I didn't realize it right then. Okay. And then I realized it later. I was like, dang, that was Justine. But yeah, Family Matters was a great show, man. I had to leave it off my list, and it hurt me to leave it off. Yeah. It was a good show.
All right. Well, speaking of your list, Rav, go ahead and kick us off with number 2.
Number 2, man. Iconic show. I can sit here and watch it all day today. It was funny. It dealt with serious issues. So much so that it has a new spinoff coming out. It's supposed to be a more dramatic take on the show. and that show is The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. It
Yeah.
was just excellence from all the way to the theme music, all the way up to the acting. Man, it was just an excellent show. Man,
It
you had
was.
a superstar in The Fresh Prince who had already been a superstar rapper, who was going to be a superstar movie actor in the future. He was
Yep.
a superstar as a comedic actor because this guy went from rapper. He was funny. He was
Hmm.
super talented. He could carry the show. But the crazy thing about it, not only could he carry the show, he had Alfonso Riviera, who was also had been on the sitcom previously, who was
Right.
Hmm.
also just the perfect foil, just the perfect
Perfect.
second man on this show. As
Perfect.
well as you had good actors and actresses in Hillary and Tatiana Ali playing Ashley, and not
Yeah,
to mention Uncle Phil, who was probably the most seasoned actor on the show.
Yeah,
he
he
was.
Everybody
was.
played their part great. The show was
Right.
funny. It
It
touched
was.
serious moments. I mean, just think about the Will Biological Father episode, dog. Like, how
That's
many
a
sitcom
phenomenal
episodes
episode.
can top that one?
That was a
Like,
great
how
show.
many can top that one? Not many, man. And you just think about, like, like you remember the time they rented the car and Carlton got the insurance, they wrecked it, they were stranded, or like the time when Will got shot. Like it's just great
Dramatic.
iconic episodes.
Yeah.
And even though I was young when it came out, I could sit back and watch those shows and laugh at them like it was
Exactly.
the first time.
Like,
Bruh, when Carlton broke out with this he's got tango fever, she's got tango fever. Bruh, I almost lost it, man. Not only was it hilarious, dude was singing it pretty good
he
too.
was.
Yes.
He was
Yes.
talented, man.
Man, I'm
He
just talking
was
about
talented.
like, yo, that was a great sitcom, man. And a lot of people can argue it should be on number one on most people's list. And I will fuck that. But Fresh Prince of Bel Air is my number two.
Wow.
I'm not mad at that. Fresh Prince of Bel Air was an iconic show.
All right, cut it, man.
Yes.
It was incredible. I don't know if I think one of my cousins actually had told Kendrick and I to watch it, and or that it was coming on, or y'all gonna watch it, and we didn't think too much about it. And we luckily tuned in, and probably after the second show, so in 2 weeks we had memorized the theme song. It was man, that show was really good. So I'm not mad at you for number two, Ham. I completely agree. It's probably in a lot of people's top five.
Yeah, it's a great episode. Definitely worth mentioning. It didn't make my top five,
Wow.
but
Well,
it
says,
was
hold on. Said what?
it did not make my top five. It was hard. It was hard not to. It's definitely an honorable mention. But like I told you, man, you as you grow, you change, and
Yeah.
it's sometimes what have you done for me lately? And so that's probably how my top five ended up being
Hey, man,
positioned.
hold on. We all grew up together, right? I'm just saying.
Hey, let him make his list, man. Go
Go
ahead with
ahead,
your
bro. Go
number
ahead. Go
two.
ahead. Go
Go
ahead.
with your
All
number
right,
two.
so my number two is gonna be a show that definitely handles the tough questions, tackles the real life situations, and is still on the air about things that currently go on. Um, and it doesn't shy away from it. It talks about it and goes from a perspective of the African American. So my number two is going to be Blackish. To
Ah,
me, Blackish is a great show. It comes on, and I laugh at every single thing that happens in the show. Anthony Anderson is a great lead character. Then we got his mother, who is a theme from different
yeah.
world. Is a like just this thing she says. The sounds that she makes are just hilarious to me. And then you got Lawrence Fishburne on it, and then Tracy Ellis Ross. It's a great show that I can sit and watch all day, and it's a show that I got it on my DVR to record. That I don't wait until I get a bunch of shows. I watch it every week, typically with my wife. It's a great show. They tackle the tough questions, and these are African Americans that both have high paying jobs, living in a great house, having but still have struggles raising their kids. But then
Yeah.
just the comedy and the things like that that come from the show make it a great show. So for me, Blackish is my number two, and I know you guys are giving me a hard time, but a lot of the shows I'm talking about are a little bit more recent
Yeah.
because that's kind of what I'm going through right now, and that's what I'm seeing. So my number two is Blackish.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. I don't watch Blackish habitually, but when I see it, I will watch it and laugh at some things. It didn't cross my mind on my list, but I'm not mad at you for having it on your list. Like you said, different times, or you said earlier, different folks, different shows. So I'm okay with that. Rap, you got any comment about his Blackish shorts?
I know, I've heard a lot of good things about Blackish. I haven't really watched it yet, but I like Anthony Anderson. I love Tracy Ellis Ross. I love Lawrence Fishburne. I love all the people that play Dion Cole.
Yeah, Dion Cole. Yeah.
I think is it Jennifer Lewis in it as well?
Yeah, that's the mother.
Yeah, Jennifer Lewis, the eternal black mother, the black auntie. So
the Dean.
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to watch it. I haven't watched it yet. I know the show is great because of the actors and actresses it has in it, but not only that, because this show has spawned 3 different spinoffs.
Exactly.
You have Grownish, then you have Bitchish, and then you have what was the one that Kenya Barris did on Netflix?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. But I can't remember the name of it. Yeah,
I watched that one actually, and I thought, and it was a controversial show, but I enjoyed it. I liked it. So, that show has to be a great show if it can spawn 3 different spinoffs, and it has that cast, and it's hard for you to go wrong in it.
Yeah. I missed
it.
Yeah, I'm down with you. I think that's the first one that you had that I've been down with. Everybody loves Raymond.
Family Matters. Yeah,
Family Matters. Yeah, okay. But everybody loves Raymond.
You were okay with Boy Meets World?
Yeah, not top 5, but it was
top 5. Yeah,
it should have been. It should have been in this honorable mention somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see how you like my number 2 then, because my number 2 is actually a show about nothing, and that is Seinfeld. Seinfeld is my number. Well, don't knock it until you try. Seinfeld is my number 2 show, and I got to be honest with you, it was almost number 1. Seinfeld is hilarious, man. It is hilarious. The show is so crazy but funny at the same time. The only bad thing about this show for me is that I didn't watch it while it was coming on weekly. I've seen all the episodes basically from my college years and then my working years. The show is hilarious. That show I could watch. That show I could watch every episode in a marathon and forget where I am because it's hilarious. It is hilarious, man. Ken, forget Big Ham on this one. Let me know what you think about my Seinfeld pick for number 2.
Your Seinfeld pick is absolutely appropriate. Honestly, it was a struggle. It was a toss-up between Seinfeld and Everybody Loves Raymond for me. It's just the fact that Everybody Loves Raymond. I've been watching it so much recently that it's kind of overtaken Seinfeld a little bit. But one reason I know Seinfeld is great, at least for you and me, is I think I remember one year we went home for Christmas, and I think you guys bought a board game of like Trivial Pursuit or something, the Seinfeld edition.
Yeah.
And me and you were just obliterating the game because we could see an episode one time and the comedy just sticks with you. It was so funny, so entertaining. I have no problem at all with you choosing Seinfeld as your number 2 comedy.
Hey, thank you, Ken. Hey, Fellowship was just to be clear, that game was on clearance at some place, so I didn't pick it up pretty cheap. But it was fun. It was fun. Ralph, you don't know what you mentioned. You don't know what you're missing, Big Hand.
Yeah, I do know because I tried to watch it because when we were younger, y'all would talk about how good it was. And I was like, man, are y'all serious? This is trash. It ain't funny in the least bit. Like,
okay.
I couldn't even stand Seinfeld. I can't even say his voice. Hey, what? It is. Oh my God, bro.
You got to diversify.
I remember y'all liking that when we were little. I was like, bro, y'all can have that. I can't do it. I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like it, man. And then your boy Kramer went.
No need
I was like, see, that's why I was like, that's why I don't watch this show.
You're wrong.
I'm gonna be on the Seinfeld, bro. And
listen, you know what? Since Big Ham is not being a supporter of our choices so much, I'm gonna go ahead and skip him, and I'm gonna do number 1 if you guys.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
And the reason why I'm doing my number 1 is because it was a show that was already brought up, so I don't want to waste too much time. But my number 1 show is The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And it's for the same reason that Big Ham mentioned. It was a part of my childhood, and thank God and my parents that I had a pretty good child, and my brothers and my family basically. I had a pretty good childhood. We definitely weren't any kind of rich family by any means necessary or any means of a stretch. But it was a good family life. I had my family, and we went through things together, and we made it. And that reminds me of my childhood. I mean, Family Matters and all those shows do. But Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was kind of like the show that was the family, but it wasn't like the 80s. It was like the 90s, the 90s family. Will was this superstar rapper and popular before the show. And then when he came on the show, it's like he started from scratch again in some different avenue. And it just took off, the writing, the acting. Will wasn't even an actor, and you just fell in love with the character. You wanted to be him. You wanted to be cool like him. The crazy stuff he was doing. I love that show, and it was my number one. And again, I and my number two, I mentioned that Seinfeld was close to being number one, but that was kind of a stretch. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was my number one. Seinfeld probably battled with Martin to me for between 2 and 3, but Fresh Prince of Bel-Air stood alone. And it wasn't like a Cosby Show type or a Different World type of show that was a lot of seriousness or the first time for this or whatever. But it just came at the right time, and it was the right amount of comedy. I would say Fresh Prince of Bel-Air probably was one of the funniest shows on my list because it just was mostly comedy throughout, and then they would have a serious show to throw you off, and then the serious show was incredible. Like the shooting episode, the dad episode, they were incredible. And it was because it was coming from a show that was so strictly funny. And then for them to turn to this dramatic type of situation and then pull it off so well, it was incredible. So for me, I agree with Big Hands. Number two, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was my number one. Okay, you know what? Ken, go ahead and give us your number one.
I am going to say this unapologetically. My number one sitcom is The Big Bang Theory. I love that show. I watch that show almost every night. It is hilarious. I watched it when it was coming on. Maybe not at the start, but I caught up. And I still watch the syndicated shows on TBS basically every night after work. And I love it, and I am not apologizing for it. I even watched a spinoff about Sheldon as a kid called Young Sheldon. The show is hilarious to me. You guys say what you want. I do not care. I enjoy the show.
Man, you been there in Michigan too long, bro. Who are you? I don't even know you anymore.
Did you have, Ralph, who was your number one?
Hold on, hey. My parents actually love that show, man. They love that show. And as a science teacher, I remember I was going to grad school. In one of my classes with, teaching elementary science, the professor loved that show as well. She would mention it every week. But I never got into it. Never even had a desire to watch it. My number one show, I'm sure this won't surprise you guys at all. My number one show is Martin. My number one show. And this, like I said with all our other reviews, I love to be entertained. Now, Martin probably was not as versatile as the other shows on my list, not as versatile as Living Single, definitely not as versatile as Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or Different World. But if I just wanted to watch a comedy, a situation comedy, and laugh, Martin, to this day, I can watch any Martin show and laugh like it was the first time I ever seen it, more than any other sitcom on this list. And not only that, of course, Martin is a legend, but you have legendary comedic actresses in Tisha Campbell, who went on to star in another great sitcom, My Wife and Kids. Then you had Pam Christina Arnold, who went to start off in another legendary sitcom, Everybody Loves Chris. And is currently on another high-rated sitcom, The Neighborhood. That's why you just got legendary actors and actresses from this show. And you can understand why those people coming together created such a good show. I mean, you just think about Cole, who you think about him as a tertiary actor, Cockroach, or The Cosby Show, and he came on a Cole, and he just cold out. You think about Cockroach, completely different character.
That is a great point,
You didn't
man.
think about him as Cockroach no more.
He's cold
Like,
now.
I mean, just a great show. And then you think about all the iconic characters that Mark played. Like, bruh,
Mhm.
I got to find me a I got me a T-shirt with Jerome on it. You know, Shanae was legendary. You know what I'm saying? Like Roscoe. You know, hey, I gotta find me a T-shirt with Dragonfly Jones on it. You know what I'm saying? The man went out there and got his butt kicked by dude every time, but it was hilarious.
Yeah.
I think he beat him twice, right?
He got him once.
Beat him last time.
Hey, and we like, oh, this, come on, dog.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the characters that Mark played was great. And
Yeah.
then, bro, that show is just
Hustle Man from Martin, man.
Hustle Man. You know,
Yep.
now he got him a show.
Mm-hmm.
Now he got him a sitcom, or a couple of them. He was on 30 Rock from the Sun, 30 Rock on one of those. Man,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about, and Tracy Morgan. You know, he's a legend in his own right, man. You just, man, bro, man. Like, come on, man. That show is just, if I want to laugh, I can put in Martin, and I can laugh repeatedly. And that's why it was my number one, because it just was the funniest one to me. It was the funniest one to me, and it was entertaining. So Martin was not, Keith mentioned it earlier. It was on his list. It's not on Ken's list. That hurt me. That hurts me that it's not on Ken's list.
Not my top 5. It's on my list. It's just not
your top 5. Yeah, it hurts me that it's not your top 5.
Okay.
Number one funniest sitcom, in my opinion, ever, and it's number one on my list, and it's Martin.
Okay, I'm okay with that, man. I am. So real quick, I think, unfortunately, I don't think we had any of Ken's 5 on our list, but I want to make sure that I call out the 3 that we had, because we had the Fresh Prince, we had Martin, and we had the Cosby Show, right?
Yep.
Okay, and your other 2 were Living Single and
Different World.
Different World.
Oh, Different World. Yeah, Different World. So technically, Different World, Cosby Show, they could be in the same thing, but we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do it. But like out of these shows we mentioned, we could tie so many characters together. You know, like and you know, we think about other people that came on the Fresh Prince show. Queen Latifah had a role on there one time. Don Cheadle was on there. Jasmine Guy was on there. It's so many.
Nia Long.
Exactly.
Cheetah was Tish Kevin was even on there.
Yep.
Stuck in the basement, sitting on the tricycle, girl getting on my nerves. Driving me out my mind. I thought she was fine.
Incredible, man. Incredible. Yeah. You know, this was a fun cast today, man. The sitcoms we grew up on, and you know, even if honestly, you know, we joke at each other, but even if we don't have the same sitcoms on our list, the sitcoms that we pulled out for the most part were hilarious and great shows. You know, it just top 5, and it could have been because we didn't think about them at the time or something like that. Or like Hendrik said, you know, as your life changes or you move to different places in your life, you know, different stages in your life, you know, you find different things that kind of filter in and out of your list. But I'm not mad. I'm okay. Maybe I'm mad at a couple on Ken's list, but you know what? It's okay. You know, like I said, this was a fun pod. You know, usually we let Big Ham close out the podcast, but today I'm gonna let the more accomplished close us out, and let
the odd man close it out because he had the odd list, man.
Was definitely the odd man out today.
He was the odd man out today, man.
Yeah, so Ken, close us out.
Yeah, it was a rough episode for me. Fellowship was the guys they teamed up on me because they had more in common than I did. But I thought we all had a voice, but apparently we don't.
No, we do.
We do. But nevertheless, no. Thank you guys for tuning in. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed our banner, our back and forth. Me typically being the odd man out getting piled on by these 2 guys. But hopefully enjoyed the show. You guys write in the comments. Let us know what you guys think were the top 5s. Let us know why you agree or disagree with any of us. And just keep it going. As you guys can check us out on Big Ham's Facebook page, or you guys can check us out on the Fellaship Hall YouTube page. Enjoy today's show. Go and check us out. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Keep watching, and you guys have a blessed one.
Be blessed.
Be blessed. Be blessed.